Who do you have? Number one, best goalie in the NHL, best goalie in fantasy hockey. Who do you got?
Andrei Vasilevsky.
Who?
You're listening to the Draft in Hand podcast with your hosts, Greg, Ian, and Mark.
We're talking about fantasy hockey goaltenders today. Fantasy managers, hopefully this conversation helps you out a bit. This is the first in our series of positional rankings for the fantasy hockey season 2020. And if you're just a hockey fan, if you're just somebody who's here for the conversation, we're not going to get too in-depth, too nerdy on you that you're not going to be able to follow along. So hopefully you take something from this conversation as well. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Draft in Hand podcast. My name is Greg. I'm here with Ian.
Yo.
And Mark. And we have a very special guest today along with us. Amy's with us.
Hi.
Applause.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Applause. Amy.
That's cool.
Amy.
It's a beautiful golf clap, Greg.
Thank you. It was anybody who's listened to this podcast previously, you've heard Amy's voice before. She's the voice of our intro and our outro. So how do you feel about that, Amy?
I really appreciate you guys asking me to do it for you, but now I'm getting kind of sick of hearing my own voice on your podcast.
Every time she's like, I fucking hate my voice.
Every single time.
I don't think there's a single person that, having done this a little bit, but I don't think there's a single person that says, hey, I love my own voice. Like
that might be a little bit weird.
Yeah, like that's kind of weird. That's a little bit weird. So Amy, you're pretty good at fantasy sports. That's why we asked you on to do these rankings and whatnot. Tell us how good you are.
Well, this, like, the COVID year was my 4th season in the league, and
Mark's the fantasy league that Mark runs for hockey.
Yes. And so my first season was 2016-17, making this one the 4th one.
Nice.
And I'm pretty good. I have finished first overall
in the regular season.
In the regular season.
Not the league.
Yeah, because my team shits the bed first round of the playoffs every time.
San Jose
but this was my year. I felt it
represent.
this year.
Nice.
This was my year.
So
thanks a lot, COVID.
So yeah, that's the reason why COVID's stupid. So, so in this league that we're all in, so we have Amy at the top of the standings most of the time. You got Mark up there, Ian up there, and if you've turned the standings upside down, I'm at the top most of the time.
Sandbagger.
So
Not playing golf, Greg. Low score doesn't win.
So maybe take these guys' advice a little bit more before you take mine. So here's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing goalie rankings today. We think this is a good jumping off point for all of the fantasy stats and fantasy rankings, just because this is a little bit more of a team-based stat than the individual players are. So with goalies particularly, we're looking at wins, we're looking at shutouts, we're looking at goals against average, and we're looking at save percentage. So two of those stats are kind of more of a team stat, wins and shutouts. Goals against, I guess, is sort of team-based as well. But in terms of save percentage, that's sort of, I guess, a little bit more goalie oriented. But it's more of there are more team stats than for example, goals, assists, shots on goal, hits. So a little bit more of a team-based jumping off point for the rest of the ranking series that we'll be doing. So the all four of us have put our top 25 goaltenders onto a list.
Yeah, we can count that high.
Yeah. And some of us went a little bit overboard, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll have time at the end for some honorable mentions. And what the goal of today's episode is to we actually haven't seen each other's lists at all. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit, but like we really, for the most part, don't know.
I can't even read Ian's. His writing's that messy.
That's factual. Ian's is cryptic regardless. We have no idea.
It looks like he's written in hieroglyphics or something.
It's Morse code.
It's not that bad.
So along the way, we're going to divide our list, our combined list, into tiers. So I think we talked about tiers a little bit on the Make Believe Sports.
Yeah, our fantasy
episode. So a tier is essentially a group of one or more of comparable players. These are players that you could flip Don't come to me and argue, that I've got one guy ahead of another guy if I have them in the same tier. I'd be like, yeah, man, like if, depending on the stat category, depending on the team, depending on
even where it comes to you and when
if
you're
if the guy's cute, like, you know what I mean? Like anybody in that tier, you could flip them around for the most part.
Bonus points if they are cute.
Yeah, always. So I also want to just touch on how to action those tiers. So it's great that we got a list. That's cool. Everybody can make a friggin' list. We don't really like lists personally, but that's why we prefer the tiered method. So with tiers, how do you action that? Okay, well, if you're in the middle of a tier and you're sort of ticking your way down and you're in the middle of the tier, if you really want a guy, take him. But if you think you can hold off and in your next pick, grab somebody else in that tier or grab someone in that tier, that's probably the best use of your draft pick because you're picking another player that's better and then you're coming back and taking a player from that same tier that is comparable. So, for example, let's say starting pitching. Let's take a non-hockey category. And in a 12-team baseball league, you've got 5 starting pitchers that are elite, top tier. Well, you have 12 teams. Not every team is going to have a top tier starting pitcher. So, okay, maybe the second tier, you have 7 pitchers. So 5 plus 7, 12. That's about one top 2 tier, like first or second tier pitcher per team, average. So maybe your strategy is, okay, I'm going to make sure that I get one of those top 12, those either the first or second tier pitchers. And so maybe the first round comes by and they all get taken. You don't get your pick yet. Okay, maybe I'm going to target somebody at the bottom of the second tier. Or maybe the third tier, there's about 10 pitchers in that third tier. So 5 plus 7 plus 10 is 22. There's 12 teams in the league, 22 pitchers. So every team should have about 2 of those. Okay, I'm going to strategize. I'm going to try to go after 2 pitchers in those top 3 tiers.
I'm confused.
And I'm going to take somebody, I'm going to target players maybe at the top of a tier to start that group so I can kind of take my pick of the litter of that tier, get a good foundation. Or I'm going to wait until the end of a tier, and when there's 1 or 2 guys left, and that doesn't necessarily mean on your list that they're the lowest guys in that tier. It's just because depending on the order that people decide to choose players, hey, there's 1 or 2 guys left in this tier. I'm going to take those guys because that's the best value for your draft pick. So that is how to action your fantasy, whatever, baseball, football, basketball, hockey in this case, tiers. So I just wanted to preface that just so we're kind of on the same page and just so we aren't just making up stuff and not explaining how to go about actioning a list that we've provided you. So you can find this list, the final version of this thing. We're going to post it on our Patreon page. We're going to post it publicly so you can just go and have a look at it. Patreon.com/draftinhand. We'll tweet it out. I'll try to put it in the show notes as well. So guys, without further ado,
finally,
without me talking up and down the wall about all sorts of other stuff, let's start with our fantasy hockey goaltending rankings. And Amy, you are the guest on the show today. So who do you have? Number 1, best goalie in the NHL, best goalie in fantasy hockey. Who do you got?
Andrei Vasilevsky.
Who?
Vasilevsky.
Oh, okay.
From the Tampa Bay Lightning, if you didn't already know that.
Cool.
If you didn't know that, you probably shouldn't be doing fantasy.
What makes him the best? What makes him the best?
He's on Tampa.
Like, as a goaltender, he's unreal, and his goalie stats are great. Also, he's on Tampa, and they are also really great.
Who else?
He's got a great team in front of him.
Who else has Vasilevsky number 1?
I think
everyone's gonna have
everybody
Vas.
should. He's on a friggin'
like his
level
numbers weren't
of
even
himself.
His numbers weren't even great last year, but that's because the team struggled at the start of the year.
Yeah,
I think people forget about that, actually.
Yeah, like
I think people forget that until
Tampa
Christmas.
didn't go on
bad.
a tear until starting January. I think
he still friggin' was unbelievably unbelievable.
Oh yeah,
the whole season.
He was
like he's a goalie that can.
Well, he was the only one keeping the team
carry
in.
you. He can if if like you're getting probably 3 starts a week with him because Tampa's backup is McElhinney, and let's be honest, he's not that good. So in a 56 game season this year, I'm gonna guess he's probably gonna start between 40 to 45 times.
Wow, that's a lot of hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's young. He can do it.
How old is he?
26.
Oh yeah, I mean,
So, but
it's a name that you
but in
seem like
in
it's
a
been around a
league,
lot longer.
you need minimum 3 goalie starts a week to lock in your goalie stats.
Mm-hmm.
And Tampa Bay playing between 3 and 4 games a night, they're either going to win all 3 or 3 of 4. So you can almost rate them down for 3 wins a week with a low goals against and a high save percentage. And with just one player on your team, you can almost lock 3 categories in a win column. So that's 3 of 10 categories on a week. You only need 3 offensive categories to win your week now.
in addition to the 3 that
In
the
addition to the
goaltender's
3 you
getting
have
you.
from the goaltending. And that's why I think the 4 of us all have Vasilevsky on just number 1, because he's the only goalie in the league good enough to do that, or play for a team good enough to help him do that.
So is he a first round pick?
He's
ADP, his average draft ranking right now on Yahoo, he's a first round pick.
I think he's a first round pick.
So-
I think I generally see him in the ranking around like 8 to like 12.
Yeah,
If
which is first round if there's 12 teams in the league.
You can
If-
reach for him.
Yeah.
if McDavid, Matthews, Draisaitl aren't there, I might reach for him.
McKinnon.
Like top
And McKinnon
like
aren't
top
there.
5 then
Top
maybe.
5 aren't there. Like if Matthews, McDavid, McKinnon, Draisaitl
Yeah.
aren't there, I might reach for him.
And that way you don't even need to take another goalie
No,
almost. If
exactly.
we talked about
Well,
your
not
strategy
until
running
late, right?
Yeah, maybe
If
like
you could
last
get
round or
Vass, you
something.
don't even have
if
to
you
think
want.
about drafting another goalie,
interesting. Okay.
because you could just run backups the rest of the year if you need a goalie start. Or
Okay,
pick up McElhinney,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
nobody's going to draft him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Handcuff your starter with the Tampa Bay backup, so that way you're getting Tampa wins or Tampa stats regardless.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Hey Ian,
Yo,
who do you have at number 2?
I have Rask at 2.
Tuukka Rask at number 2. Tell us a little bit about Tuukka Rask.
Well, I have him at 2 because he plays on Boston. Boston's gonna be good. I don't know if Char's resigned. I think we're doing these.
Chara hasn't signed yet.
Yeah, so
yet.
I think we're doing these episodes a little early to actually know like full team setup and
A little,
everything
yeah.
like that. Like still transactions going on like daily.
Mhm.
Like there was.
Hoffman signed with the Blues yesterday.
Yeah, that was
Yep.
what it was. So it's like still big players moving around. But last year he had 26 wins, 212 goals against average,
That
and,
is retarded.
and a 929
Crazy.
save percentage with 5 shutouts.
Insane.
So those stats are very good.
Excellent.
Probably, I don't know.
Those are the best raw
I don't think
numbers
anyone. Yeah,
in the
no
league
one has a
last
better
year.
goals against average on my list, and 1 or 2 people might have close to the save percentage.
His teammate had pretty good numbers too last year.
Yes, and again,
Absolutely
it's a
did.
team.
So, Mark, where do you have Rask ranked?
I have Rast ranked 3rd on my list behind Robin Liner, who
Robin?
I have ranked 2nd.
And I
And
have
Amy,
Liner at
where's-
3rd.
Where do you have Rask?
I
Amy?
also had Rask second.
At Rask second. I had Rask 4th.
So that's some favoritism by Amy because she ran Rask Halak.
Yes,
Last
I think
year?
we met. Did we mention that in our
We might
episode?
have.
She basically ran the Jennings Trophy tandem. So the Jennings Trophy is the goaltender or goaltending combination that allowed the least goals against in the league. Amy had them and helped her team to a season first place
For the
pre-COVID.
second year in a
Yeah,
row.
exactly. Okay, so hey, Rask is great. Mark, who said Leonard? Who said they have Leonard second?
I got Liner 2nd.
Leonard, okay. Same. Tell us about him.
Ugh, got traded to Vegas. So, because Fleury's the backup, he might not play like higher. Like I said, Vass might play 40 to 44 games. Might be probably around the mid 30s with Vegas this year.
Right.
Because Fleury is also getting paid too much money to sit on the bench for three quarters of a season.
Yo, that's not a bad gig.
No,
Vegas backup tender making a little bit of money.
yeah, but when you're as competitive as Fleury, you want to be playing.
Yeah, he's not hitting the
But-
slots in the intermissions.
But I have Liner at 2nd. Even if Fleury does get traded, you can't project him that he's going to be better than Fleury because he's going to get more. Or I mean Vasilevsky, because he's like Vegas as a team isn't better than Tampa.
Right.
But Liner last year, he started out on Chicago. He only had 19 wins, and then he was great for Vegas when he went over there and was unbelievable in the playoffs. Had a .920 save percentage last year.
Despite starting on Chicago.
Yes, and years before prior, he had higher save percentages on shit Buffalo teams.
Yeah. Those
He had a
were
pretty good
years.
year when he got that Jennings with
The
Grice.
Islanders, too.
It was
Yes.
Grice and him, right?
So the last 4 years, his save percentage has been like high 910s, low 920s. His goals against has been high, but he's playing for a very good Vegas team now who's going to get a ton of wins. And when you win, you're probably not giving up a lot of goals. So expect his goals against average to go down a lot this year, too.
Amy, where do you have him ranked?
I had Leonard ranked 3rd.
Ian?
Same.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to Vasilevsky for a second here.
Why?
Because it seems as though he's a tier on his own. Nobody has if everybody had one
he's
of these
got to.
guys ranked all seconds, like second across the board, like twos across the board, then you might have a conversation where you have a tier that has both of them. But because we're a little bit mixed here in terms of who we have 2 and 3, it's almost like Vasilevsky, tier on his own. Way you go. Okay. Amy, who do you have So Amy's got Vass, Rask, Leonard. Who do you have next?
I had Connor Hellebuck.
Connor Hellebuck. He's won a thing.
Vezina last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us about Connor Hellebuck. Amy.
Oh. Okay.
He's pretty good.
So
922 save percentage.
He had the second most wins as a goalie last year.
That's pretty sweet.
And okay, so I really enjoy making spreadsheets. You must know that. So I made a spreadsheet and I used projected stats for my spreadsheet only because I know that you guys like rank your players a little bit different, but I just like that's what I did. I also didn't prep too much before this, but I was able to get my spreadsheet done. And Hellebuck ranked on the higher end of all of the stats that we like count.
Yep.
He ranked on the higher end of all of them. And I averaged, like I calculated the averages for these projected stats, and again, he was above the average every single time for every single one of them. And he faces a lot more shots than the other goalies.
Yeah, Winnipeg does give up a lot of shots. It's a bit of a shooting gallery.
Exactly.
In Winnipeg.
So that, like, for shots against and like his save percentage and all that stuff, it's going to go up because of the amount of shots that he faces in a game.
Just volume. Mark, where do you have Hellebuck?
I have Hellebuck ranked 4th on my list, but
Okay,
I
so
have him
same.
as a very, very cautious 4.
Why?
Because I think the Canadian division, first of all, is going to give up a bunch of goals this year.
Yep.
And a bunch of goals leads to a lower goals against average, of course. And
that's the math,
I
yeah.
also think
It checks out.
I also don't think Winnipeg is a playoff team. So if you're not a playoff team, you're probably flirting around 500 hockey or below.
Or below, yeah.
That's
I feel like you just hate
thing.
on Winnipeg, though.
I do, but I'm also trying to be a realist because Connor Hellebuck carried the shit out of them last year too, and like we can't call him Carey Price yet.
Ian, where do you have Hellebuck ranked?
4.
So like,
Wow, okay.
I have him at 4, but be careful.
Okay, so I have him a little bit lower than you guys. I have him at 6 because of the Canadian division. Like so Winnipeg is going to be playing Edmonton,
He has to play Matthews
Calgary,
10 times.
9 or 10, yeah, but he's
10
got to play.
times.
He's got to play McDavid and Draisaitl 10 times.
Yeah.
He's got like Vancouver's got an offensive juggernaut. They're playing. That's 10 times
Calgary
as well.
scores a shitload of goals too. Like
10 times.
the first line on all these Canadian teams are fucking good, man.
Except for like Ottawa and
Okay.
Yeah, but we don't. Montreal, I don't.
Montreal's a good team, but they're not a big goal scoring team.
So what you
that's the
guys
main
are
thing.
saying?
They're goal scoring by committee team.
Yeah.
What you guys are saying is the average draft round that Connor Hellebuck is going in Yahoo Public Leagues or Yahoo Leagues right now is 2. He's a second round pick, a late second round pick. You guys are saying that's pretty early for a guy playing in a Canadian league because. Well, I don't know. Okay, we're calling them divisions because that's what they're called. But when there's no
it's
crossover,
kind of a separate league.
it's
at
like
this
the
point.
AL and NL before interleague play.
You literally have to expect Hellebuck to win the Vezina again this year if you
Are taking him.
If you are taking him, and that's
Second
a
round.
huge stretch if you're taking him second round. But the reason though is potential's there, and he's been trending up the last couple seasons. He won the Vezina, but
Cool.
It's hard to shoot the same shot twice.
Okay, so you guys, I got your guys' top 4 rankings. We skipped my number 3 guy, Jordan Binnington.
I got him at 5.
I had him at 5 also.
Okay, Mark.
I got Binnington pretty far down my list at 8.
Okay. So here's the case for Jordan Binnington. He had maybe a little bit of a rough year, but they also
Sophomore
traded a little bit of a sophomore slump. They traded Allen, so he's going to get the bulk of the starts now. He's also in a division where he's going to be playing a very tough Colorado team, a very tough Vegas team,
and then nothing else.
and the rest of them are going to be
Oh, none of those teams can score. California can't score. Arizona doesn't even know what the offensive zone is.
and Minnesota.
Oh yeah, they're a hockey team.
Everyone always forgets about that.
So I have Jordan Binnington. So sorry, you guys all have Mark has him at 8.
I have him at 8.
Ian
5.
and Amy have him at 5. I have him above Hellebuck, essentially for that
the
reason.
division.
So
Divisionally.
I got him a little lower. I think St. Louis not really upgrading on defense. I don't call.
It's a side
Krug
grade.
for Pietrangelo.
Yeah,
It's a side
It's
grade,
not
yeah.
really upgrading, and Tarasenko being out is going to hurt them a lot too.
He was out most of last season, too.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
And Hoffman doesn't replace that.
Hoffman doesn't replace that.
He doesn't
helps.
replace it, but
But-
he's a big
No,
he's a
I'm
big
saying
helper.
though, like you could do it for 1 year. It's hard losing your best player for fucking 2 years, man.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
That's awful.
Cool. Okay, so who do you guys have at Mark? Who do you have at number 5?
Carey Price.
Carey Price.
Yeah, I think Montreal is going to be sneaky good this year. They gave up I don't want to say they just gave a lot of fucking weird goals last year. Like unlucky is the word, kinda.
Sure.
Like goals you couldn't really blame Price on, but I think he's going to have a friggin' monster year next year with Montreal. They were one of the best 5-on-5 teams last year, and I think they only got a lot better over the offseason this year.
And his 909 save percentage last season is
I got him at a 918 this year.
yeah. So
Like he's going to be, I think he's
I also think having Jake Allen as a backup is
puts a lot less stress on him to win
lot
every
less
game.
stress.
I
Yeah.
was thinking that too.
Yeah.
Carey Price is like, oh, I don't have friggin' Charlie Lindgren playing behind me.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not like the only wins my team's gonna get is
Or
when
wait,
I'm in net.
didn't they have Antti Niemi for a little bit?
They might have.
Oh.
Wasn't that a while ago?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but he was still Carey Price still had to play.
He's
in
had
front
nothing
of-
behind him
he
for a
had
while.
For a long
Yeah.
time,
Ex-
yeah.
as-
They
well,
would have been better off
except
playing with
Halak.
6 players.
Cool. Ian, who do you have? Where do you have Price ranked?
7.
You have Price at 7. Same. Amy. Carey Price.
7.
7. Okay. Well, there you go. So we got a few 7s. Mark has them ranked higher
I
than
kind of
anybody else.
contradicted myself a bit with talking about Montreal being like talking about the Canadian division scoring a lot of goals, but I think Carey Price is
His caliber.
a lot more caliber than Hellebuck.
Yeah. Okay. So who else sort of in that group of players? I'm going to throw up a guy here. I have number 5. I got Carter Hart.
Got him at 6.
I have him at 7.
That's also probably the
I had him at
hardest.
9.
9. Okay.
I think their division is probably the hardest division in the league.
Oh yeah,
I think, yeah, I don't think anyone would disagree with. Maybe the
The
Canadian
East?
one, you could maybe make the
Yeah,
argument.
well, because they
but-
got 7 teams, but like with like they had 6 teams that made the playoffs in that division right now.
Yeah,
They have 2 bottom feeder teams who aren't really pushovers. Like Buffalo, New Jersey aren't.
they can still well,
They're not bad, but
Buffalo
they're,
can still score.
They're probably.
I know. Well, yeah, Buffalo. Rest in peace, Buffalo, because they had a chance to make the playoffs this year if they were in the Atlantic.
Exactly.
Yeah. As a
Sorry,
wild
you're in
card.
that division this year, but
Yeah,
also
like-
not sorry.
Sure.
It's hard for that division for sure.
In my opinion, I had Hart down a little bit lower because I find that when Philly loses, they lose by like quite a bit of goals.
Oh, it's either close or it's not. It's
Oh yeah,
either-
when we shit the bed.
Exactly. It's no
You roll in it.
bueno.
Oh yeah,
Wow, roll around
Oh
a
my
couple
God.
times.
like
I guess it'll keep you warm and comfortable. or
they
whatever.
couldn't give you a loss where you're just sipping on a beer.
Yeah, it's not a close
No.
loss. Okay, I got you. Okay, so I feel like we're sort of getting to an end of this second tier. Who else do you have in that group of players, in that group of goaltenders?
So I think I have a guy kind of off the board to all of you. I have Markstrom.
Marks. Does
ranked
anyone else
6th?
Oh,
on my
shit.
rank
list.
6? Wow. Okay. Does anyone else have Mark? Where do you guys have Markstrom ranked?
15.
So Mark has him 6. Ian has him 15. Amy, where do you have Markstrom?
Like closer to the bottom.
Like, do you have a number?
18.
Wow, 18. I also have him right where Ian has at 15. So Mark, give us your case. It sounds to me like this is a different tier, but give us your case on Markstrom.
Vezina candidate last year.
Yeah.
I'm also ranking another goalie in the Canadian division pretty high.
Yes.
Right.
He played on a Vancouver team who I think is a lot less superior to a Calgary team now last year, and he had a .918 save percentage on that team.
He did, yeah.
So I think going over to Calgary, in my opinion, that is a better team, is probably going to benefit him stat-wise. And I got Calgary probably finishing second or third in the Canadian division, so they're probably going to get a lot of wins as well.
Wow. Okay, so you're really banking on Calgary then.
Yeah.
So for an average draft round, Yahoo has him going in the 7th round, or people are taking him in the 7th round. So if you're going off of Mark's list, if you're drinking the Mark coffee,
so
that's a good deal.
Yeah, I have him ranked that high because I might not draft him 3rd, 4th, 5th round, but if the goalies if you wanted a top tier goalie and they were gone,
yep,
and you see Markstrom just sitting there and like that 6th round comes around or something, that's when you scoop him.
Right.
Like I think at the end of the season where he's going to project, he is going to finish as like the 6th best goalie in the league.
The one reason I had him ranked lower is because I had 3 Canadian goalies above him.
In terms of just skill-wise or whatever?
Yeah, so I have Frederick Anderson above him as well. So as Hellebuck, Price, and Anderson above him, with like the divisions how they are, they're playing each other so much, like I just couldn't put him as high, but I understand where you're coming from that way. But this division's going to be so weird. Like Vancouver's so good. Edmonton wins games just because they score.
McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yeah. Calgary's great. Winnipeg can
Winnipeg's
score.
got probably one of the best top 6 out of all the teams. They just got nothing besides that.
It's hard to
And
take.
Hellebuck.
Sure.
It's hard to take so many Canadian goalies that high in my ranking.
Right. Okay. Amy, do you have somebody at number 8 that we haven't mentioned?
I had
It could also
Anderson
be a-
at 8.
I had Anderson
Frederick
at 8
Anderson.
as well.
Okay, so we have Mark. Where do you have
Hey,
Anderson?
I got Anderson at 9. This could also be a forecast of how good we think the Canadian division can be.
I think that, I had Anderson ranked at number 8, which
Okay.
is because I think he is going to thrive in the Canadian division
Okay.
versus like some other people.
I got
Okay.
him winning a lot of
Goalies.
games this year playing for the Leafs.
Right.
Maybe not like we all agree the Leafs defense has gotten better, but like we all have that like, oh, the Leafs still don't know how to play defense because it's still true until they start doing it.
I have him. I am far less bullish on him. I got him at 13. So not way out of there, but
You think the Leafs are going to give up a lot of goals for that? Like,
I
because of that?
feel like their defense is
Like,
a little
oh.
stronger this year. So
yeah,
it's
but
like,
they still have to show us that they can actually play defense.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Like I can put names on a board and tell you that's good, but they still have to go do it.
True.
maybe it's a thing with Mark and Philly. Like I just maybe don't take Toronto players.
Yes.
Like take Leaf
Makes
players.
sense, makes sense.
However, I have him below a few other goaltenders that I think have stronger teams or more defensive oriented teams in front of them.
All right.
Okay, so Amy's got Anderson at 8. I'll go off my board here. I have Philip Grubauer at 8, Colorado. So he had a 916 last year, 263 goals against. Colorado is going to be dynamite, sort of like Jordan
agree.
Binnington.
He's going to get a lot of wins.
Jordan Binnington, and Robin Leonard. I just put the 3rd starting goaltender in that division. He's in that tier. I have him right behind Hellebuck and Carey Price. Just for wins, his goals against is going to be low because they can't score. The other team's not going to score if Colorado's
playing in their zone.
If Colorado's playing offense. And his save percentage was like 916 is solid.
And Colorado was confident enough with their defense to trade Zadorov too.
Right. So where do you guys have Grubauer ranked?
I got Grubauer. Well, I didn't know before we even started this if Grubauer or Francouz would be starting.
Oh, that's fair.
Francouz actually played more games than Grubauer last year, I think.
Right.
And they both got injured in the playoffs. So
Yep.
I was just like, I don't know who's coming out. So I just put Colorado's goalies at 11, and whoever's the starter
Kinda like a tandem
will
pair.
be an 11th
Okay.
in my ranking.
Yeah, I like that.
So Mark,
idea.
what would you say for Grubauer?
I have him at 10 on my list.
And
Yeah.
Amy, you said
10.
10. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So we're all pretty close.
Pretty close. Pretty close.
I got him there just because I think Colorado's going to win, but he hasn't. He hasn't done enough with he hasn't
Yeah.
shown enough consistency.
What have you done
for me
for
to
me?
put him any higher than that?
So it sounds like you guys are going based on the team more than the
Yeah.
actual player.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, what's not to like about Colorado?
I honestly, their goaltending is
Yeah.
like the biggest question mark.
Well, don't have him. Then don't don't say how good Grubauer is going to be and tell him that their goaltending's not good.
Well, no. Okay. No. You know what, guys?
He's basing that off of team.
I know.
Contrary to that, Yahoo has
It's
him
like arguing that your backup catcher is your worst part.
in
of your
Yahoo
fucking
leagues.
team.
He's going 4th round.
Is he really going that high?
So like
Teams are really banking on Colorado then, eh?
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
fantasy managers are taking him in the 4th round. So like we have him. I have him at 8. You guys have him at like 10 or 11. So like me having him, like you're saying, that low or whatever, or like, but it's like no. I mean, like other like Yahoo's got him ranked.
How many goalies?
That high.
What's he ranked as opposed to other goalies getting draft position?
Okay, so comparable round 4, Jordan Binnington and Carter Hart and Igor Shesterkin, all going in the 4th round as well.
Oh, I got like Hart, Binnington, Grubauer, like all like.
Okay, so
Condescending.
let's talk about at what point do you guys kind of feel like there's a tier break here? So Andrei Vasilevsky's
I think
a
it
tier on
already
his
happened.
own.
I think so too.
I think
Okay,
it happened a while ago.
At what point do you think? Sort of after Connor Hellebuck maybe or Carey Price?
So you got your vast tier,
Yeah.
and then I think you probably go 5, maybe 6 goalies after that.
Yeah, we have Leonard and Rask,
Okay,
2,
so
3, and then you got Binnington. You guys have Binnington ranked lower than I do, but you still have him top 5, or Mark has him at 8. And then Connor Hellebuck, we have either 4 or 6.
so the one thing I'll bring up here is an amount of wins.
Yeah.
So this I feel would be a tier from like Rask to Anderson on my list, which is 6 goalies
Yep.
or 7 goalies. Sorry, those guys are in the upper 20s in wins, and like the rest of the list not really upper 20s.
Right.
So like
Yeah, the only other goalie in the upper 20 wins is Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah,
But
and he's lower.
He's playing second fiddle
yeah,
to
he's
Liner
lower
now.
because he's a backup, and
Yeah.
Liner's lower in wins because he wasn't playing with him the whole
He was
year.
playing for
So like I
Colorado,
got like
Chicago
Rask,
team.
Liner, Hellebuck, Binnington, Hart, Price, Anderson in a tier below Vass. So 7 guys.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. Well, I guess if anyone's looking at our ranking list right now, it'll make a lot more sense because it'll be ranked by the average of our
Of what
combined
you think.
rankings. So it'll be a lot neater to look at than us trying to do the math on the fly here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you think so it's we've had a tier
for
break
sure.
already, and then we'll share the list. You can
And
find it on our
also
Patreon page.
that way you have, so like I just said 7 guys, you already had 1 guy, so that's 2 goalies basically from each division. I might have had 3 from one division. I don't remember. Oh yeah, I definitely had 3 from one division, but like still it's just like you're keeping like an upper echelon of teams in said divisions
right.
that way as well.
Good word.
If you look,
Echelon.
if you look at it, they're all, besides maybe Winnipeg, they're all teams that you think are going to represent the division in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so who has a goalie left on their board that we haven't talked about in their top 10?
I got 2.
Okay, Ian, go.
I got Samsonov, Washington.
Washington. All right, Washington, Samsonov, and you have him at number
9.
9.
Really, eh?
Amy and Mark, where do you have him?
17.
Mark 17. I got him at 16. Amy
15.
15. Okay, Ian, why are you so bullish on Ilya
Yeah, I want
Samsonov?
to hear this.
Washington.
Oh, very good. That's a good argument.
Okay, so Samsonov's numbers, like he's decent numbers, 255 and a 913, right?
Yep.
He didn't play last year, really. Like it's Holtby was the starter.
Yep.
Samsonov was the backup. This year, Samsonov was probably going to be a starter. They picked up Lundqvist. Lundqvist is going for the open heart surgery I just read today, which is
best
crazy.
of luck, Hendrik Lundqvist, in that recovery. Yep.
And then they just signed Craig Anderson. So
Yes.
you know he's going to be a number 1.
Yep.
I don't know how many games he's going to. I'm going to say upwards of high 30s.
Craig Anderson's also a damn good.
He's a great
still,
goalie,
he's
and
finally
that's
on a team that doesn't fucking
and
suck dirty pond water.
He's a veteran as well. Like he
Yeah.
can give
He'll help
Samsonov that
kid
level
out a
head,
lot.
right?
Oh yeah.
So I think, and Washington's still
Honestly,
a great team.
I'm very big on that tandem this year. Not so much Samsonov as the goalie individual, but I'm big on Washington's duo.
But it doesn't sound like we're high enough on him to justify a 4th round pick, which is where he's going.
Yeah, see, like the Yahoo's got him ranked pretty high too. It's
Is
funny.
he
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, man.
See, the
Who
thing
has
is,
him
though,
ranked, what is that, 6?
Crazy high.
I don't think I could pick him there because I think you could
Six.
you could get a goalie just as serviceable in a later round.
Absolutely.
But
'Cause-
I still think he's going to be low 20 probably wins just because he's Washington. But then again, it's that division. That's the hardest division.
I was
We're
just going to
gonna
ask,
see.
what do you think about that division? And I guess we'll.
Yeah,
I guess
we
have to wait
already
and see.
talked about that though. But like,
And also, I'm very like on picking goalies that haven't like done it yet.
Oh yeah, he's
He hasn't done shit yet.
yeah, well, he hasn't.
he's
been
not a
starter.
rookie, is he?
He
But
hasn't
he's
been a starter.
basically-
He's a rookie back. He was a rookie backup last year.
Yeah.
But
Didn't he
like,
play a ton of games when they won the cup though?
No, that was Grubauer.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, Grubauer started the first 2 games against Columbus, lost.
Yes.
Holtby went in, and then they fucking
That's
went on to
right.
win the cup.
Yep.
Amy, what do you think about Ilya Samsonov?
I had him at 15, did I say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's not way up there.
No, but can I tell you my 11, and this is why?
Okay, hold on. So Ian
Oh,
still has number
okay,
10, I
sorry.
think.
Oh, sorry.
And then we'll go to your 11.
Okay.
Kubodin
Kubodin.
he's my second guy from that division.
Okay.
So like I feel like as well
After
when,
Vasilevsky.
yes.
Put on a show in the playoffs.
He put on a, but like when I'm making my picks as well, I was trying to go by division as well, like
Yeah,
because
that's
they're
fair.
only playing against each other. You can't really like you could before probably have like 5 guys from the same division,
No, I know. You can almost be
but
like,
now you really can't.
yeah, you can't assume, like, if whatever team's in 5th, you can't say that goalie's going to have a better year than the goalie who's in 1st or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I
So-
know exactly how you're
so-
kind of like suggesting where your guys are.
Khudobin as well will be great to start off the year, but after Bishop comes back,
Bishop's
March.
not coming back till late March.
March.
exactly.
maybe
So he'll be a
April.
great draft pick to begin with, and I doubt Bishop will get drafted unless someone picks him up and just throws him on an IR late in the draft, which you can look at doing.
Yeah.
So what you're trying to
Which I
say
Can you
probably
is
do
will
that so
do.
you can draft an extra player?
No,
No,
No, no, no,
Oh,
no.
you have to
but
do
no,
it
no,
after.
but you
you
can
can
put
draft
it right
them.
onto the thing, and then you could pick up a free agent.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
got
So
it,
the
got it.
as soon as the draft's
Yeah,
done, you can
okay.
pick someone up.
So if you know somebody who's not going to get picked as like a sleeper or something, you could totally
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
So what you're trying to say is
Hot
that
tip.
Khudobin would be a good pick, but then for the playoffs, for the fantasy playoffs, he could disappear.
yeah, but
A
this,
little.
this is just
He might get you to the playoffs, but he
preseason
might not win
ranking,
it
right?
for you.
Yeah. Okay. I have
That'd be a
Khudobin.
disaster. Imagine.
I have Khudobin ranked 9. Where do you guys have him?
12.
12.
Both at 12.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm a little bit more. I guess I'm a little bit more high on him, but he's only going in the 8th round in Yahoo leagues. So I think it's almost like we're all a little bit higher on him than maybe.
I don't know.
Yahoo is.
They're probably thinking because Yahoo's got the full season
People
projected.
also might not know that Bishop's hurt.
No,
Well,
no, but like Yahoo.
maybe not.
Hey, Yahoo still has the full season projected, so they're projecting these are his numbers at the end of the season. We're projecting this at the start of the season. He's going to be a fantastic goalie to have.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep. Still agree. Amy, 11.
I had, and this might be a little bit of bias coming through, but I had Halak at 11.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
wow.
okay. So our
And-
first backup goaltender at 11.
Only because Rask and Halak split starts pretty evenly. And if it ain't broke.
Yep.
Don't fix it.
So honestly, if like you might see like a 30 game for Rask, 26 for Halak split, and a 26 starts, like you're still probably getting like it's one or two a week.
He could win you goals against and save percentage easily.
What are his numbers like?
Sometimes
From
he'll
last year,
squeeze out a
Halak
shutout
was
as
a-
well.
Well, like, you know, you guys, Halak,
Yeah,
like you guys, we all
exactly.
thought Rask was like in a group of his own with his goals against and save percentage. Halak had a 222 goals against
Yep.
I have
and a
him at
928
239.
save and a 919 save percentage.
919?
last year.
Sorry, Ian, what did you have for his goals against?
I had 239.
Yeah, same.
Oh, okay. I thought.
Regardless.
Oh no, yeah, 239.
You're probably
Okay.
reading Kemper's
I was
number.
looking at Darcy Kemper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Knew it.
Mark, where do you have Halak?
Pretty high up. I have him at 13.
Really? 13? I got him at 17. Ian, what do you have?
18.
18. Okay, so we all kind of around the same
I
level.
just
So
think like his raw goals against and his raw save percentage stats are going to be so low
They're very
and high
good, yeah.
that like it's like you can't ignore it.
He's a great second goalie. I wouldn't put him in the top 12 though, because
If-
you're going for a starting goalie in your top
Yeah.
12.
You know-
and also, if you want to throw the fishing line out there, Boston gets quite like they keep the gate. They don't give up a lot of goals, and Boston.
But
they know
in
how
a
to get
draft,
shutouts, that team.
in a draft
Yeah.
as well, someone could be going for their second goalie before someone goes for their first goalie. So
you
you could see him going as the 11th goalie in your draft because someone picked Rask and then they picked Halak.
Exactly.
Mark, you had an interesting thought about backup goaltenders and running 3 of them.
Oh, it's like
instead of a starter at all.
instead of drafting a goal, it's just like pick 3 backups. They have to be there though.
Like Halak?
Yeah, but
so Halak
but the
ADP
thing
average
is, though,
draft 13th round.
13th round. Damn, Daniel. But like,
Yeah,
see,
but people are stupid.
if Amy's in our league, I know I couldn't get away with that strat. If I'm doing this with randos, maybe. But if I'm in a league with like people that know,
Of course.
I could get away with it. Maybe in a public league, yeah. But like, hey, go after.
you get like Frank Kuz, you get Halak, and
No,
you
no,
get
no.
like another like
Fleury? Maybe?
Go,
Fleury, yeah.
I would look at.
No, Fleury's going too
I would
high.
look at, if you're gonna look for backups, look at teams that are probably gonna split right down the middle. So the Islanders are probably gonna split right down the middle with
That'd be
Sorokin
interesting,
and
yeah.
Varlamov. One of those 2 guys.
Columbus
If you
maybe.
could grab Halak, I don't think Columbus is gonna be that good.
Korpisalo, Merzinkel,
And then,
but they're in that mid. They're in the
And
middle.
the Vancouver duo and Thatcher
Demko.
Demko and Braden Holtby
Interesting.
is also very,
So-
very intriguing. And 2 goalies that aren't on our list that I think is a very good tandem backup that you could watch. And I think that the team is going to be a lot better this year than a lot of people are putting their money. I'd bet $50 for this team to make the playoffs.
Okay.
Oh, no.
The LA Kings
Oh.
with Jonathan Quick and Pedersen.
Does anyone have Quick on their list?
Nope.
No,
No.
but I think as a tandem, that tandem is one of the sleepiest tandems in the league.
Wow, you're getting it here from us first, everybody. So, okay, so what you're trying to say is if you know your friends don't listen to this podcast, you could probably maybe pull some shenanigans on them. And you could maybe grab Halak late,
You probably
grab one of these goalies and just
You might not
get
even
some-
have to draft Quick and Pedersen.
No, free agency.
Free agency. You might not even have to draft a goalie if you even.
No. You might just have to
You're
grab
gonna have
one
to grab
just
one
to
just to grab one, but like.
Well, they are
you know.
in that West division where yes, there's 3 good teams, but like the 4th
other-
is up for grabs.
There's also
I kind of
there's a bunch
see
of
it.
really good tandems. Like when Bishop comes back, Bishop Khudobin, Rask Halak, we already mentioned.
Yep.
Greg said Liner Fleury.
Yeah.
We mentioned Price Allen earlier. And another good one that I think a lot of people are keeping quiet and why I think Calgary is going to be as good as they will be is Markstrom and Rittich.
That's
Markstrom, Rittich. Right. I mean, Fleury, just talking about Fleury, where do you guys have Fleury ranked just to close out that duo? Because the
15.
average draft
19.
round is 5th round. They have him ranked really high.
That's because of it. That's probably because of his.
That's probably because he plays for Vegas.
I
Well,
got- so
I
hold on,
feel
let's
like
go
it's
around-
his numbers last year.
Yeah, let's go around the table again. I have him at 18. Ian?
19.
Mark?
15.
Amy?
17.
Okay, so we're all on board that avoid Fleury
Early.
simply
Early.
because he's being taken way too early. His X rank or whatever Yahoo has it as is way too high. If he's on the board and nobody's auto drafting, and you're getting down and you're looking for a
He's
backup,
definitely a goalie you look to trade for some like hot streaky player you got going that you pick in a later round. Just go for it.
So so we're sort of getting to a point where I think the goalies are going to be a little bit more sort of all over the place.
So
Yeah.
I got. Does anyone have another goalie in their top
Didn't
10?
Amy
we
had
haven't
a
mentioned?
top 10 still?
She has an 11.
No, mine was 11, and
I-
I was
I-
excited to bring up.
I still
Halak.
got. Okay, you had a lack. I got a top 10 here, and I have him ranked 10. I have Tristan Jarry of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
fuck Pittsburgh.
I have him at 13.
13. Ian, Mark, where do you have him?
I'm surprised he's on my list. 20.
Oh wow.
Amy?
No, I'm just saying that because I don't like Pittsburgh.
Yeah. That's some bias.
I
right
honestly
there.
forgot about him, so I'm gonna squeeze him in.
Okay.
His 921 save percentage last year is very intriguing, though.
it's very intriguing. I don't.
943 goals against is pretty good too.
and I don't trust that division entirely. It's just that I trust Pittsburgh a little bit more than I trust. I got Jari just above Shesterkin, Kemper, and Anderson and Korpisalo. So I trust Pittsburgh just a little bit more than I trust any of those teams that I have ranked right below them.
I only trust Pittsburgh because they have Malkin, Crosby, Letang. I don't trust Pittsburgh anymore because of what they've done the last 2 playoffs.
You forgot Gensel.
Gensel's probably going to get hurt again. Because of what they've done in the last 2 playoff series they've been in. They have literally, I think...
Yeah, they got shit on by Montreal.
I don't think
they got shit on by
team.
Montreal, and they got shit on by the Islanders.
Yeah.
I think that they've kind of been figured out, that team.
But don't confuse playoff performance with
regular. I know I'm not.
Season.
That's why I rank them lower, because I think Pittsburgh's regular season is going to be just make the playoffs and get in there again.
Right.
And they're going to be probably around 3 or 4 in that thing. So I have them down there because I don't think Pittsburgh's going to win as many games as you might think they will this year.
Right. I think I'm just not sure if I trust DeSmith behind him really either.
I don't either.
So I know Jari's going to get a bunch of starts.
They're gonna rely on him.
Having said that, I sort of have him in the same conversation as Khudobin, Shesterkin, Kemper, Anderson, and Samsonov Markstrom and Samsonov at the bottom of that list.
And I seriously try to sound as unbiased as possible.
And that's the next guy on my list.
It was hard to say nice things about Pittsburgh for a little bit.
Same. I have Shesterkin at 11. Ian has Shesterkin at
12.
At 12. Okay. Tell us about him.
Fucking played 12 games, had 10 wins.
Yeah, it's a pretty good percentage.
932 save percentage.
Mark, where do you have Shesterkin?
16.
And Amy?
14.
14. Okay, so we're sort of in the same boat. Maybe I'm a little bit more bullish than any of you guys, but again, I could flip him around with a few of these guys.
So the guy
like
who
Kemper
I
and
have
Anderson.
ranked at 11 might blow your
Okay.
heads a little bit.
Okay, everybody,
Socks off.
everybody buckle
Sergei
in.
Bobrovsky.
Yeah,
Sergei
I knew that was coming.
Bobrovsky.
Bobrovsky.
Okay.
So he's coming off probably his only ever bad season in the NHL, and everybody's he signs this big contract, has a bad year, and everybody thinks he's this fucking sieve now.
What were his numbers, Mark, in
this
Florida?
year? He was last year he was a 323 goals against average, which
Gross.
is dog shit. Dog shit. And his save percentage
900.
900.
Wow.
You should probably in the AHL. But years before
But he still
that,
had 23 wins.
because Florida's a good hockey team.
They're okay.
Years before that, though, 913 save percentage, 921, 931, 908, 918, 923, 932. It was just a bad year. This guy's going to bounce back and be the Vezina candidate he was when he was playing for Columbus.
Also, that's the third guy we've listed from that division.
Yeah,
There's some damn good goalies in that division.
that's not a very that could be the weakest division overall in terms of offense.
Yeah.
Maybe you got Chicago, Detroit, Nashville's questionable offensively. Columbus doesn't really score a lot of goals.
You got
so
Carolina.
To me,
Right.
I looked at
Carolina.
Bobrovsky last year. It's just a bad year. He went to a new team, signed a big contract. Maybe just didn't live up to the contract last year. But I looked to him in Florida to bounce back in a big way.
So you're saying that at rank 11, you're saying that in a 12-team league, if he's your number one goaltender, but if you're getting him that late,
You'd be very happy.
you'd be happy.
Oh, I'd be so happy.
Amy and Ian, where do you have Bobrovsky? I have him 19.
20.
21.
Wow. Okay.
So we're thinking differently than Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we think he's a solid number 2. Take a flyer on a guy. Why not?
Yeah.
And Mark thinks he could be like a lower end number 1 on your fantasy team
Oh yeah.
based on historical averages.
Oh yeah.
I
You know
hope
he's
he
gonna
is.
sit there for a while. And
Okay.
My thing, he's only had one bad year, and if you're gonna base it just off last year, then
Can I talk about another guy from that division?
Yeah.
no.
He's probably I got
do it anyway.
I got Mrazek at 14.
Mrazek at 14. Okay. The one thing I'm going to say about Mrazek, I have him at 21. Ian, you have him at what, 14?
14.
Okay.
Just
I got an
because of the
argument with
team.
him, too.
Just because of the team.
Yeah. So the thing about Mrazek is he's so athletic that if he got, and I don't know if we'll ever see this happen, but if he actually got it together, if he actually got his shit together, goaltending wise, he could probably be a top, I'm cringe
He's
to say
so fun
top
to
5,
watch.
but top 10 goalie in the NHL.
That World
on-
Junior run was amazing.
On Carolina behind that young defense, if he got his crap together, he could be unreal. I just don't know if he's going to.
My only thing is, everybody talks about Carolina and their defense, but Peter Mrazek at 905 is not acceptable.
I agree. Amy, where do you have Mrazek ranked?
With a team with that good defense, that is not acceptable.
23.
Okay. And Mark, where do you have Mrazek?
22.
But also,
So
like,
I just have him higher because of his team.
And
Yeah.
Carolina. Okay, fair
also
enough.
like my like 20 to I would even say like 18 to 25 is like
It's a bit of a mess. Hot
Yeah.
mess. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
everyone's is.
That's
Okay.
why we're just starting to throw people out there.
I'll throw one out there at 12. On my list at number 12, Arizona, Darcy Kemper. His numbers are
Fucking amazing.
too good.
His numbers are stellar. He just doesn't win enough for you.
Yeah, it
No.
just doesn't get wins.
And, like,
It could honestly, it could be a strategy to go after a guy on a bad team like this that doesn't get wins. He might get a couple shutouts
He's going
But-
to get starts.
with goals against 2.22 and a save percentage that's pushing 930. If you punted wins and punted shutouts, like just tried to go for 2 goalie stats, if you tried to go for goals against and save percentage, there's a couple other goalies on this list that you could pair with Darcy Kemper and basically like be pretty comfy with your goals against and save percentage.
Yeah, I like that. I think those numbers are just so low that I don't think it's going to happen again for him.
No.
Where do you guys have him ranked?
16?
I have him pretty high at 14, kind of like you do, but I think that Arizona is... The little amount of goals Arizona gave up, I just don't think can happen again.
You don't
I think they're going to
reach-
get
I-
shit on
I-
by St. Louis, Vegas, and Colorado.
I don't think that team is that good again. Like, they're not as good as they were last year.
I think I just have him ranked so high because
I
of those
agree
numbers.
that Kemper is a damn good goalie, and he's going to have a very good goals against and save percentage, but I don't think Arizona is a good enough team as a whole to, like...
Where do you have him ranked, Amy?
I have him at 20
Wow.
and I have him ranked low because I think he'll
just
like-
because of Arizona.
because of Arizona, and I think he'll make it that far. So if you can get him that late,
Yeah,
I
think he's going to be a
that's-
better draft pick.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we're all sort of in agreement. I have him at 12, so a little bit higher, but again, not crazy high, like low end number 1 goalie in fantasy. And I have him right there with like Anderson, Korpisalo, Markstrom, and Samsonov on my list.
Yeah.
Have we
like,
guys
he would
talked-
fit into-
If you
yeah.
think goals against, and if you think his goals against and save percentage is enough to, like,
It's not an anomaly.
cancel his the wins he doesn't get,
Yeah.
then yeah, go for it.
Cool.
Or if you get another goalie that helps you, like, balance what you don't have. Because you couldn't run a season with just him. Because Arizona's going to lose enough games that his save percentage and goals against is going to be bad on some weeks.
Right. Does anybody have anyone in the top 15 that we haven't talked about yet?
Merzlikins.
Oh, Merzlikins. Do you have him over Korpisalo?
I don't even have him on my list.
I've got him at the end of it.
So, Amy, you have Merzlikins?
I have Merzlikins high only because
Elvis.
yeah,
name?
like he was unreal. There was a stretch of games last year where he really proved his worth,
Okay.
in my opinion.
And where do you have him ranked, Amy?
13.
You realize he's cursed, eh?
13th.
Why?
Because Duke was talking good shit about him, and as soon as Duke started boosting him up, like,
Friend of a friend, yeah, basically boosting him. So, okay, so hold on. Mark and Ian, do you have Merzlikins on your list at all?
25.
no.
Ian's got him 25, so
I've
Ian's got him right at the
Korpisalo,
bottom.
though.
Okay.
I got Korpisalo.
I have Merzlikins as an honorable mention, so he's off my 25, but he has an honorable mention. So why don't Mark?
This might be why Amy's better than us.
I have that. You know what? This is exactly why
I
you
feel
listen
like
to AB.
I feel like I have him on my list only because I didn't know which Columbus goalie was going to be there. I probably would have had someone above him.
That's fair.
Just thinking, like, if Korpisalo's starting, he would probably make my 25.
I've got Korpisalo, Jonas Korpisalo at 14. Mark, where do
Holy
you have him
shit.
ranked?
21.
21.
I got Korpisalo 21 as well, actually.
Amy, do you have Korpisalo ranked anywhere, or did you go with Merzlikins?
I went with Merzlikins, but if I had to put him on my list, he'd be behind Mrazek. And I had
Okay,
that
so-
like quite late. That's what, 24?
So my thing with Korpisalo is just looking at the Columbus Blue Jackets in that division. I basically have him there divisionally. Like Columbus might be a playoff team.
Well,
I think they will be.
In that division, it's just division. There are just not many goal scoring teams, like high end offensive teams in that division, and that I
mean
think,
Detroit's in that division.
yeah, like it's basically a divisional pick more than the actual goaltender. But at 14, like he's a number 2. Like if he's your number 1 goalie, you're in trouble. I just don't
Oh, for
have him.
sure.
I don't have him down that far. You know he's going to get starts. Is essentially what I have him there for.
He couldn't carry you in like he might win you a week in fantasy, but he couldn't carry you multiple times.
No. Anybody else want to throw out another name? We're sort of getting down here, so we're well through the number 1 goaltenders. We're getting into the number 2 goaltenders on your fantasy teams. Let's just sort of do a round table here. So I'm going to throw it to Amy next. Amy, throw out a goaltender that you have, the top ranked goaltender that you don't have, that we haven't talked about yet.
Shesterkin.
Okay.
Oh no,
don't
we
think
talked about him.
Did we?
Yeah, we
Oh,
talked
sorry.
Shesterkin. You got him 14, Mark's got him 16, Ian's got him
Oh, that's
12,
right,
and
sorry.
I have him 11.
I didn't realize we went over that.
Is there another guy from your list?
That we haven't talked about at all.
Yeah.
Saros.
Okay, Saros.
But that's
Amy.
like low.
Okay,
He's,
where do you have him ranked?
22.
Nashville. 22. I got him at... Same, I got him 22.
I got him 23.
Nice.
He's not on my list.
Not on Mark's list. Why isn't he on your list, Mark?
I like
Considering he's at the very bottom of all of ours. So, like...
exactly. I just
So like he
don't-
could be 26 on your list,
yeah,
right?
and,
Yeah.
Like fuck. Rene's gonna play just as many games as him, and if Rene has the same numbers as him, you can't really put Saros on your list.
Yeah, okay. Well,
That's the way I kind of see it. And I don't think Rene or Saros are going to be better than any of my goalies on my list.
And you know what? His average draft round is in the 10th round. So, I mean, if he's sitting there late and you need like a number 2 goalie, he's not
I
a
think
bad...
people are taking him on a whim.
Maybe. Or just because it's Nashville.
They're throwing the fishing rod out and they fucking
No, you know what it is, Mark?
Saros this time.
It's Nashville has always had great goaltending. So now that they're not, it's just people are taking it on the nostalgia that it's like, okay, Nashville's goaltending's got to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Just on account of...
Well, I think he's going to be better than Rene.
So what do you have projected
Yeah,
numbers
I didn't
there,
even
right,
have
Amy?
Rene on my list.
I can get them, yeah.
Oh,
Just a
projected
second.
numbers. Okay, while we're waiting for Amy to pull up her projection on Saros, I
got another guy in the top 20.
another guy in the
wait,
top
sorry.
20. Okay, Ian, go for it.
Yeah, I had Holtby in my top 20.
Braden Holtby. Okay.
I just figured he'd be starting. I don't know. Like Thatcher Demko is a good goalie. Like he proved it in the playoffs there, right?
Right.
I like them as a tandem.
Yeah, and I think Holtby will get more of
More of the starts.
more of the starts than Demko
Demko.
will. Just veteran wise.
Right. Demko did not have great numbers. I had
Holtby
Demko
had
at
shit
20.
numbers last year.
I had Demko at 24. But
And a better
again,
Washington team as well. So.
Mark.
Yeah.
I got Demko at 19 on my list. I didn't have Holtby on my list. I think Demko, I'm hard on picking young up and coming goalies that haven't really like proved something on like a mediocre, I wouldn't say upper echelon of a team. Vancouver's good, but they're
Canadian
not, like,
division as well.
I like Demko. I watched him a lot in the AHL.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's a very good goalie.
Yeah. I mean, don't expect the numbers that he put up in the playoffs. That was an anomaly. That will never happen again.
Might do
Mark,
that in a week or for a week or two for you.
it could happen in a week, but any goalie could do that in a week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even have Thatcher Demko on my list.
Right.
But hey,
Same.
the fact that he's shown you he can do it.
He did it, and you can't take that away from him.
Take that away from him.
I'm going to throw out a goalie I got that we haven't talked about. He's in my top 20. John Gibson, number 20.
Holy shit.
See, I really like
How
John-
do you rank Anaheim that high?
It's not that you rank Anaheim that high. It's that John Gibson is that fucking good, man.
Yeah.
I know he's that good.
He's probably
and he's gonna
top
get
5 goalie in the entire league. It's just
Could
too
be.
bad he plays on Anaheim, who's just shit right now.
Yeah.
Like when him and Anderson were a tandem, year before the Leafs got him, like they were.
and that was the team was slightly
fucking
better as well.
disgusting
And
tandem.
you can grab Gibson in the 13th round.
Yeah, well, like I feel like Gibson won't even be drafted in a lot of leagues. Like he probably just
No, you're
sit on
getting
it.
you're getting to that level
Yeah,
where
he's a guy where you pick up, you see who Anaheim's playing, pick up on the matchup.
no Gibson. I think
Pick
Gibson's a
him
guy
up when they're
that
playing San
Gibson's
Jose.
a guy that's going to be
the
drafted
only
because he's
team.
a starter.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a starter.
He's going to get you those starts.
So hold on. So Ian, where do you have Gibson ranked?
I don't have him on my
If-
sheet.
Mark?
He would have been on the back end.
I have
like,
him ranked 23rd.
Yeah.
But if I have top tier goalie, I wouldn't draft Gibson because I think his goals against his save percentage
It'll bring you down.
Will bring you down.
Amy, where do you have Gibson?
I didn't have him on my list either.
Okay, so we're all getting to that point where we have goalies.
Gibson-
Like some of them us are on the list and some of us aren't. Like just we're getting to that lower end of the.
If
of
you
the
have to
top
draft
25.
John Gibson, it's kind of a last resort for your team, and I feel kind of sorry for you.
Yeah.
It's almost like you take him.
like there's literally nobody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I agree. Like don't get me wrong. Like 20, like that's low. Okay, so
But like, I'm
that's
pretty
low.
sure we can all agree that Gibson is just as could easily win the Vezina next year somehow. Like, he could put up
Maybe.
Vezina numbers next year.
Could.
He is that good of a goalie himself.
His team isn't that
His
good.
team
though.
isn't that good, but as a
So
goalie
his numbers
himself,
will just look like
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Because
as a
his
goalie
team-
himself, he could do it.
Mark,
But as a team, I don't think they could do it.
who's your next guy that we haven't talked about?
So I talked about them as like a tandem.
Yeah,
Semyon Varlamov
and you have him where?
as
Like,
18.
Varlamov at 18.
Holy shit.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Islanders.
watching the Islanders basically dick around the Flyers, even though it went as long as it did. It should have been less games in that series.
Mhm.
But that team plays defense in hockey so well that the goals you have to score to beat that team, you can't get these shit goals. And like, his numbers were good last year, 262 goals against with a 914 save
Yep.
percentage. I think that could potentially go up this year with the Islanders.
wow,
Because
yeah.
I think the Islanders are a better team than they were last year.
Not scared of that division?
As a Flyers fan, I'm fucking terrified.
Okay.
That's the only reason I had him so low on my list
Amy?
is because of that division.
I think
He didn't make.
I
the
think
cut,
like the Habs,
but I
the
kinda wish he
Islanders are
did.
going to be sneaky good with their goaltending.
I
tandem.
had him at 24 though.
Oh, you had
I had
Varlamov
Varlamov at 24.
at 24? Yeah,
But
okay.
the only reason I think I had 6 goalies from that division that ranked above him.
Yep.
So he was just like one of the last guys I just wrote down.
Okay, I had him as an honorable mention along with Ilya Sorokin. Varlamov, Sorokin. I mean, like Mark said, that's a tandem maybe. Like he said about Vancouver.
I'm probably think the Islanders are going to be a lot better than you guys think this year.
well,
I-
I mean, not by much though. I
Not-
mean, like
I agree
Do
with
you
that.
not think 4
18?
teams are going to be better than them in that division?
I don't think so.
You don't think Philly, Washington, Boston, and Pittsburgh are better than Islanders
I don't think
And the
Pittsburgh
Rangers.
is.
and Rangers?
I don't think the Rangers are.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think
That-
the
that's
Rangers
just
are
surprising.
that's a bit of a
pretty
preview
good.
for our playoff prediction episode coming up
I guess,
in a
yeah.
week or two. Okay. Amy, is there anyone else on your list that we haven't talked about?
Oh, I had someone here, and I forget who it was.
Okay, can I throw a name out there while you're
Yes,
looking for that?
please.
Edmonton.
Yeah,
Mikko.
that's exactly who it was.
Okay, so Amy, what's his name?
Mikko Koskinen.
Edmonton Oilers. What do you guys think?
He's going to get wins.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Amy, what do
They,
you
they
have him
win their,
ranked?
they win their
God,
games
if you-
6-5.
He was 25 for me, but he's.
If you want a goalie that's going to force you to drink a 6-pack a game, then
But-
yeah, draft him.
You have to understand about my list. Like,
23.
um,
That's
anything after 11 is kind of just like, this is who
Yeah.
I like more. Like, I kind of just like put them as where I would have them.
I got one other
in
guy.
what order I would choose them.
Okay. I think Koskinen could be a guy. It's definitely, I mean,
I didn't even write him down.
yeah, he's near the bottom of the list. Edmonton wins. He had a decent save percentage last year, but like, you know what I mean? It's one of those, if you're very bullish on Edmonton and you think Edmonton could take a run at the top seed in that division, you might as well take their starting goaltender if you're valuing wins and you don't mind his goals against average maybe being close to 3 or 2.75. He had a 2.75 last year. Ian, throw out another guy.
Is my other guy that I have, I think he's my last one on my top 25.
Okay,
Frank Hughes, I had him at 22.
another backup. Okay, at 22 for Ian. I have
Just,
him at 25.
I feel like him and Grubauer will be more of a split tandem
Yeah.
as well, and you know they're going to get wins, so he's going to get wins.
Did anyone else have Francouz on their list?
No,
Is
I
that how you
didn't.
say his name?
Yeah,
I didn't.
I think
He had
it's
a
Frank
two.
Hughes.
He had 241 and a 923 save percentage. Like
really good.
having a 923 save percentage, like there's like maybe 5-6 guys that have over that.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to mention this with Koskinen. You can probably grab Koskinen with like your second last pick. He's going in like the
Yeah.
15th round. So there you go.
Yeah.
And
Francouz is actually going in and around the 10th round. So again, people are just looking at the numbers. And again, Grubauer maybe has some health problems because he did last year, just in terms of like staying healthy
Yeah, I
and whatnot.
wouldn't
Hip
take him.
surgery is always big on a goalie too.
Yeah,
is that what he had?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, exactly. Okay, Mark, is there another guy you want to throw out? and talk about?
Well, he's injured till March. We talked about him a little bit. Ben Bishop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get that
Honorable.
off the
I-
table.
When I made my list, I had Ben Bishop really high, just because he's like, when he's healthy, he's literally a top 5 fantasy goalie.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And then I made a list with him out, not on it, because he's not going to be back till March. And I was like, my list just looks stupid without Ben Bishop on it.
Exactly.
Sure, right.
So I was like, If you could draft Ben Bishop late or something, and you got a stud, and you could just pack that guy on your IR,
And pick
Just
up
in
like a
case.
backup or even
Like,
like a
just
worse
store him
starter.
for playoffs, man. Just store that guy for playoffs.
What round would you take Bishop in?
Probably the last two.
Like the last couple?
or maybe last four.
I mean, the last 4, you're
If
dropping
he's-
all those
if he's
guys.
sitting-
anyway,
if
probably.
Probably
he's
one of the
sitting
last
there.
4. If he's
Yeah.
sitting there in the last 3-4 rounds, and you think you're confident in what you got, I'd scoop him.
Great.
Like yeah, if you have a very good
if you're
starter,
confident with your starter, and fuck, man,
imagine having Vass and Bishop. as a
I just
tandem
thought of that
going into
idea.
the playoffs.
If you can take Vass in the first round and Bishop in the second last round,
Yeah.
and you just sit on that till playoffs.
That's.
Yeah.
Is there anyone
ridiculous.
else that you want to mention that we haven't talked about at all?
Jack
John-
Campbell.
Jonathan
Jack
Bernier.
Okay, Ian's got Bernier.
He's on my avoid
I was
list.
kidding. I was kidding.
Avoid list. Mark
kidding.
said
We
avoid
can
Bernier.
I actually do have an avoid list if we want to.
Run through it real quick. Just the names.
Linus Allmark,
Yeah.
Hutton,
Yeah.
both play for Buffalo. Devin Dubnyk, Martin
God.
Jones, both play for San Jose.
Yeah.
Matt Murray plays for Ottawa.
Yeah.
Crawford, Blackwood, both play for New Jersey.
Yeah.
And Grice and Bernier both play for Detroit. Don't draft those guys.
And anyone who plays for Chicago.
They could,
oh yeah, I forgot they had.
they
goalies
could
this
be
year.
random pickups if you need a game on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe if it's like Chicago versus Detroit and you need a pickup, then maybe look at Bernier.
Yeah,
or,
but that's
or
going
one
to be
of
a
those.
fucking 6-5 men's league game.
It might be.
It might be.
Or maybe just
Or they're both going to be so bad that
At
both
that
teams
point,
can't score.
hopefully all you need is wins.
Okay. Anybody else that you want to throw out before we wrap here?
Jack Campbell. That's about it.
Jack Campbell, and you just think that he's gonna maybe get some starts. I do like Jack Campbell.
Win.
I mentioned Jack
He
Campbell.
won the few games he played for the Leafs last year.
Yeah,
Yeah, he wasn't there long. What,
No,
like a month?
but he
maybe?
won when
not
he
even
had
like
to.
6 starts or something.
Yeah,
He won what he had to.
and
Yeah.
he's such a
If
nice guy.
You need to start on a Sunday or something. Fuck
I
yeah,
just
the Leafs
love
are
his
playing somebody
personality.
not that great.
Yeah.
Fucking scoop him up.
Amy, anybody on your list before we?
No.
that-
I mean, I don't know. I don't hate Thomas Grice as like a really late.
Yeah, but he's on Detroit.
I know.
He's just
that's
on
the
Detroit.
and
problem,
he's not gonna
right?
he's not
Good
gonna be
though.
the starter.
Like, he's a-
That's
Exactly.
the problem.
They're gonna split, but he's been
But
good.
I think
goalie,
as
though.
like a
Yeah.
as a like kind of once a week.
I think Detroit
kinda
are going to
pickup.
surprise people a little bit this
Don't-
year,
don't-
just
you know
because
what?
that division is a lot
If
weaker.
if Grace is having a good season, trade deadline, man.
He's gonna, yeah,
Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Trade deadline. Okay, guys. Okay, so I'm going to clean up this list a little bit. We're going to make it visually pleasing for everybody. And if you want to look at a list that maybe your friends aren't looking at, in terms of these fantasy goaltender ranks, we'll break them into tiers for you. You can find them on our. You can find this list, this document on our Patreon page. If you're looking at this list in maybe early January before the season starts, right before you're doing your draft, there should be a list up there for defense, centers, left wing, and right wing as well. Those episodes are yet to come. So we're recording this on December 28th. So if anything happens after December 28th at about 5 p.m., well, we missed it.
fuck you.
Okay, so patreon.com/draftinhand. It'll be posted publicly, so you'll be able to review it. We'll link it through Twitter and in our YouTube description for this video as well. So everybody, thanks for listening. Looking forward to the next one. Anybody else have anything to say before we close?
Yo,
Thanks for having me.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry Christmas.
holidays. All right, everybody.
Whatever you celebrate, just enjoy it.
And and because this is the goalie episode, wear a mask, everybody. Wear a mask. All right, see you guys.
Thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter @DraftInHand.